ready to take your investment game to the next level? Introducing Digital Investor, your ultimate guide to mastering the digital marketplace. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, Digital Investor brings you cutting-edge game theoretical strategies, expert insights, and real-time tips and tactics to analyze, evaluate, invest, and grow your wealth. Don't miss out on the digital revolution. Visit www.nickblacknex.com and start your journey with Digital Investor today.
All right. Soon XRP will dump to 10,000, and then it's time to GG into pudgy penguins. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's good advice. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Minimally interesting news. CPI. We got that, so we'll talk about that. We've got Ethereum being preferred as a treasury asset to all these new. The new thing was when a company is terrible, you would just start buying Bitcoin, and then your company's not terrible anymore, right? Terrible company, just quit doing what you're doing. Like MicroStrategy, just quit doing whatever you're doing. Business intelligence, stop it, because that's no good. You lose money, and when you're not committing fraud, and when you're not committing fraud or tax fraud, but you consistently lose money, you just say that you're a Bitcoin treasury, and then all your past transgressions are forgotten, except for the legal ones where you do have convictions. So those, then your company's good, because you buy Bitcoin. Now, could people just go buy Bitcoin? Yes. So should they pay you $2 to get a buck of Bitcoin? Why not? Seems like an amazing idea to me. If people are stupid, but then other even worse companies, they say, how worse? Way worse. So it turns out that the worse your company is, the better shot it has at having a big turnaround story by issuing more equity, which means nothing, by the way, because if you own equity, you don't own anything other than potentially first in line for dividends, last in line at liquidation. So remember, when you own equity, you own nothing. So all these companies now are issuing more stock. All these bad companies. If you're a failed company, failed leadership, maybe even borderline corrupt, you just start a Bitcoin treasury. Yeah, that's cool. But then now companies like, no, that's not the way to do it. That's old hat. That's so 2 months ago. The new play is Ethereum treasuries. That's where the game is. And one company did a hype treasury, which is so fucking stupid. There's a Solana treasury company, I think. Okay, I mean that sure seems like a lot of gambling, and like at a certain point, if you know that a company is just converting to buying crypto and you believe in that crypto, why wouldn't you just go buy that crypto asset? I'm just not sure it means anything. I still don't understand. Like, I'd love to get someone, unless the whole play is it's a giant stupidity play. Like, we all think everyone in the stock market is so fucking stupid that they will buy this garbage. Therefore, we're going to buy it when it first comes out because other idiots will buy it and then we'll sell it back to those idiots. I guess that's the logic. I'll be dumb first. They'll be dumb second. The first dumb guy. It's like in a chess match. It's the second to the last guy that makes a mistake that wins the game. Because if you're the last guy that makes a mistake, you lose. So the second to last. So the second to last idiot. That's what these Bitcoin treasuries, these are all the second to the last idiot investment techniques. But anyway, but on the Ethereum side, Ethereum becomes the preferred treasury asset for newer tech-savvy firms. So this is if you were, again, this is not last month. This is not way back to last month. This is this month. The CEO of No Ones, never heard of No Ones, told Cointelegraph that corporations are increasingly adding Ethereum to their treasuries drawn by its utility, staking yield, and dominance in token asset protocols. Okay, staking yield's pretty minimal, but it's something. So, okay, I guess it's an asset that you would expect it to perform better than bonds. Like if you bought a bunch of bonds and they pay, 4%. But there's not a lot of upside for those bonds unless the yield collapses and the price of the bond rockets up. Like, I'm not sure it's a very safe play. But anyway, so you're assuming that Ethereum will outperform bonds. I think it's a fair assumption. And you have your staking. So in your mind, you could kind of say, all right, well, the staking, yields could come down. Yields are coming down. Yields will come down. We'll talk about that in CPI here in a second, which still hasn't really shown much inflation. All this inflation, the tariffs, nope. So of course the Fed will hold on to 1 or 2 out of 1 trillion data points, and they'll claim that they want to hold rates straight. I'm still not sure. I think if they were smart, especially now, I think Jerome would cut. I think the FOMC should cut. Otherwise, the bond market is just going to give them the big FU as they have been the whole time. Anyway, whatever. So, but the idea that you could hold Ethereum on your balance sheet is cool because you get a yield. You get a staking reward. That's cool. So it's some kind of dividend, right? So corporations apparently are increasingly viewing Ethereum as a critical infrastructure component, fueling a surge in Ethereum allocations within corporate treasuries. Again, according to this guy that no one's ever listened to. Ethereum starts to look like a hybrid between tech equity and digital currency. This appeals to treasury strategists looking to go beyond passive storage, and for those people that are trying to mine some passive income. Top corporate Ethereum treasuries have purchased at least 1.6 billion worth of Ethereum in the past month. On Monday, Bitmine, chaired by Fundstrat's Tom Lee, revealed that it holds 163,142 Ethereum, valued at around 480 million. SharpLink Gaming, founded by Ethereum co-founder Joseph Lubin. This is the scammy one we were talking about yesterday. Leads corporate ETH holdings with over 280,000 Ethereum as of Sunday, totaling over 840 million. It has acquired large amounts in recent days. Other notable buyers include Bit Digital, which has more than 100,000 Ethereum. Blockchain Technology Consensus Solutions, BTCS. Who knows what they do? Anyway, they've increased their holdings to 29,122 Ethereum following a $62.4 million raise, meaning they're not. It's so frustrating. I mean, why do people give them money? It doesn't make any. I'm glad they're buying Ethereum, but it doesn't make any sense. People are stupid, man. I mean, people are pathetically stupid. Like, so much so that now I don't even get mad in traffic anymore. The average IQ in traffic is about 40. It's actually below the amount you need to maintain breathing at night while you're asleep without having someone say, breathe in, breathe out. And yeah, it's real bad. I'm not hating on Teslas. I'm not hating on Priuses. But I bet they dropped the aggregate IQ from about 89 right on down, right into the mid 40s, I'd say. I give them mid 40s. I saw a broke down Tesla truck, one of the crappy Cybertrucks. It was broken down, and it was a service truck servicing another Tesla. So it was two Teslas and a trailer for the service vehicle. I just drove by there like, you guys are a bunch of fucking idiots, but I didn't say it out loud. This is the key. Don't say it out loud. If you don't say it out loud, it's like it never happened. Anyway, people are dumb. People are more dumb than we give them credit for. So cool. Apparently this shift shows that the perceived utility of Ethereum now rivals the narrative in driving institutional choices. Bitcoin's long held the title of this kind of the gold standard, digital gold. So Ethereum is gradually winning over institutions that seek to align their balance sheet with the networks that may drive tokenized finance. I think especially this is loading up as we go into the potentially the passing of the Genius Act this week, which I think it will get passed this week. And what's the other one? I have to look it up. Anyway, but the Genius Act, I think, is the biggest mover for Ethereum because that's the one that sets all the standards for what you have to do with your currency units when you create a stablecoin. So if you create a stablecoin, you have 100 magic money units. You have to have 100 US dollar units behind it in either cash equivalents, or treasuries. And I think 50% of it has to be in treasuries, which again, that's actual QE. That's QE. That's buyers going into the market, a forced kind of, they could call it stealth QE. It's a forced buying of treasuries. And you're giving those institutions that you're buying those treasuries from, you're giving them actual money. Unlike the Federal Reserve, that's not a money dealer, that doesn't deal in money. It never has, ever. The Fed has never actually financed anything. They do it through the Treasury. So they don't have money. The Fed doesn't have. The private banks at the Fed have money. And those are the guys that are doing this 2 point whatever billion dollar renovation. And a bunch of bullshit. You see last night that or yesterday, Jerome Powell said, I want the Inspector General to come take a look at this and just make sure everything's okay. I guess the idea is that they have been grossly mismanaged, and as part of that gross mismanagement, that maybe Jerome said some things, perjured himself a little bit. I don't know. I don't think it's that clear cut. If he had perjured himself, the second a lawyer said, hey, Jerome, you could go to jail, he would have gotten the fuck out of that position immediately. He would have resigned that moment, not 30 seconds later. So Jerome's prideful, hubris-laden ass, that guy is going to claw, he's going to go kicking and fighting because he believes his mission on earth was to defy Donald Trump, and in the process, fuck the U.S. taxpayer. Like completely stick it to us. But as long as Jerome gets to be the one guy that stood up to, by the way, the guy that appointed him. So you think out of just respect, the guy that made you who you are, if he says step down, step the fuck down and disappear. But Jerome he's a prideful, arrogant, kind of Jamie Dimon-esque, piece of shit. And anybody that will put their own pride in front of the welfare of the whole country, fuck you. So that's Jerome Powell. Good old gentleman Jerome. Anyway, so you have all these companies, and they're thinking, let's First of all, we're terrible companies. We don't know how to run a company, but we can buy Ethereum. Look at those idiots. Those guys were all going to prison, and now they buy Bitcoin, and they're one of the top Bitcoin holders in the world. Second to only BlackRock. They're over 600,000 Bitcoin. Look at it. And those guys were going to prison for fraud and then tax evasion. Two separate things. But they're not. And they still melt billions of dollars a quarter. And that's the other part I don't even understand. Shouldn't there be no employees left at these companies? If you start a Bitcoin treasury or an Ethereum treasury, and that's your only purpose, that's all you do, should you have any employees at all? Or shouldn't they all be gone? They should all be fired. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the dumb one. Maybe I don't get it. Like, what are you employing them to do? Thanks, Margaret. Keep doing what you're doing. I don't do anything, sir. Well, let's keep doing it. We'll see you on Monday. All right. Anyway, this analyst said that the ETH's staking yield, which, by the way, for those of you that want to stake and not really mess with it, you can convert your Ethereum into wrapped staked Ethereum, WSTETH. You can do it right there in DeBridge. Go to DeBridge, swap your Ethereum for wrapped stake Ethereum. Guess what? Now you're getting staking rewards. Just like that. You don't have to go pledge it anywhere. You don't have to go lock it up. Any of this 13-day bullshit over at Coinbase. No, none of it. And you can immediately pledge it into Morpho and grab some cash against it if you wanted to. And then if you had other uses, yeah. Anyway, but the staking yield, the programmability and the compliance-friendly roadmap of Ethereum have made the cryptocurrency appealing to, he puts it, forward-looking companies, especially those already involved in the digital economy. What he means is failed companies that have no product, no leadership, no management, and haven't yet been indicted for crimes. That's what he really meant. He predicted that Ethereum's influence will continue to grow. Ethereum increasingly becomes the digital rail for tokenized assets, stablecoins, smart contract execution, becoming a preferred reserve currency for firms operating in these areas. There is a better argument for Ethereum than Bitcoin. The argument for Bitcoin is simply Bitcoin go up. Okay. But I guess if you were a company that was building into Web3, again, if you were not a failed company, like at some point a real company is going to do, if you notice, every time these referendums get up to a real company like Apple or Microsoft or Meta, they all completely shit on these ideas of having Bitcoin treasuries. Like just immediately, 99.999. Matter of fact, 106% of the people voting say no. Some people said no twice to Bitcoin treasuries because they realize that's the mark of a bad company. And now it's even worse. Now, if you say you're a Bitcoin company, it's just assumed that you are a fail, that you failed at whatever you did as a company, that is over with. So maybe it's a better hustle to say, no. Ethereum's better because infrastructure, Web3, smart contracts, programmability, yeah. It doesn't look so bad, yeah. Maybe. Most stable coins and real-world asset protocols, again, RWA is just it's a made-up bullshit marketing term that kind of came about a year ago, and now people are like, yeah, real-world assets, this is very awesome. Like, it's always been that. You fucking idiots, since the beginning. Nothing has changed. Yeah, but now we're putting real estate on the blockchain. They've been doing that since 2018, you stupids. Anyway, but most projects, most stable coins for sure are built on Ethereum or Ethereum capable chains. So Ethereum dominates the RWA market with 315 projects valued at 7.76 billion, which puts it as a 58.1% market share, Following behind is the Ethereum Layer 2 solution ZK Sync Era, hosting 37 projects worth $2.27 billion, holding nearly 17% of the market. Solana ranks third with 79 projects, valued at just over $500 million. And then a smaller 4.15% market share, although it showed a very strong growth rate. So cool, I guess. And then if you look at the just kind of the total numbers, I am uncomfortable pushing this narrative of RWA, real world assets, because it's just a bullshitty marketing term. Oh, it's real world assets. Really? Yeah. Okay, cool. So why don't you give me a token of an orange and I can eat it? Well, no. You have to go cash it in. Okay, so is that cashing in process maybe the same as just buying it at Trader Joe's and eating the orange? Yes, but this is a real world asset. I can't fucking eat it, so it's not real world. I can't go buy a house, an RWA house. I can't live in the fucking Ethereum contract, can I? No. You have to go, okay, cool. And then if I need a plumber, do I get the plumber to go look at my smart contract? No. That's different. That's okay. So it's not fucking RWA, stupid. It's so fucking stupid. And this is all just a marketing thing. Oh my God, RWAs. I gotta buy the shit out of those. Honey, cash out the kids' college fund. We need RWA exposure now. I know some fucking idiot in the US has said that to his wife. And she was like, you're a fucking idiot. And he was like, yeah, you're right. And then she says, go back to watching whatever stupid ball game is on and shut the fuck up. And that's a smart wife right there. That's a good woman. You marry that woman. So maybe she'll marry once they get divorced, she'll marry the guy that she's currently cheating on him with. Anyway, regulations remain somewhat of a hurdle. So there is a kind of regulatory uncertainty remaining with ETH Treasury adoption. So there should be some guidance on how staking is classified, whether it is a service or a security or a dividend or a what, a fugazi, wasn't anyway. So they're not sure about that. And they're also, I don't think we still have complete certainty about staking in ETFs. I feel like the Solana ETF came, no one cared. Last week before, no one cared. And then, which we knew no one would care, but we thought that staking would come out of it, and that would be something you'd care about. But apparently that's not very clear. That's not been made so clear. So I don't know. But I think that's a big deal too. For the Ethereum ETFs, I think that's going to pump a lot of people into the ETFs if there's a certain amount of staking involved. Or you launch a wrapped staked Ethereum, a WST ETH ETF. WST ETH ETF. Whew, say that fast 5 times, bro. Anyway, let's switch gears a little bit. Standard Chartered. Oh, I've got a cool little here. Let's see. Those are we're going to talk about CPI, so I don't want that one. Let me get a different banner. What's the other one? Is this one? Oh yeah, that's kind of cool. Treasury. Okay. Standard Chartered now offers institutional Bitcoin and Ethereum trading. Say Standard Chartered. Okay, I've heard of that. Yeah. The banking giant has opened Bitcoin and Ethereum trading to institutions through the same system they use for dollars, euros, and yen. So they're treating it kind of FX-y, like currency trading-ish. Anyway, Standard Chartered has become the first GSIB bank to offer spot trading via its existing FX infrastructure. They don't offer this for XRP. So all of you ISO 2022, all these idiots. Oh my God, today's the day. ISO 22. No, today's not the day, man. God damn. The day was years ago and the day never happened. Stupid asses. Anyway, this service lets institutional clients execute and settle Bitcoin and Ethereum trades alongside traditional currencies. It's kind of a currency type of a thing. Anyway, observers say the move reflects growing demand for digital access from mainstream finance. Yeah, because people are like, hey, I want some of them gains, some of them crypto gains. British banking giant Standard Chartered became the first too big to fail bank to offer Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I think, let's see, Charles Schwab said they're going to launch in early 2026. I mean, this is going to be a pretty normal thing, I think, in bank. Even Chase, even JP Morgan, scumbag Jamie Dimon, who, by the way, this dude is a straight up fucking crook. Have you seen this bullshit where he's going around saying, oh, there's a good chance the Fed's going to raise rates, that inflation, it's going to come big time. Of course, we got CPI. Where is it? Not here. But, oh, no, dude, it's coming. Trust me. And meanwhile, his bank is doing the opposite. So they're basically saying, dude, inflation's going to come. Rates are going to go up. Bonds are going to crash. Bond market destroyed. You don't want to be a part of it. And they're loading up on government debt. They are fucking filling the back. Dude. So, I mean, at a certain point, someone should call this asshole on the carpet and say, hey, man, what you're saying is not what your bank that you run is doing. And it feels a little bit like you're kind of like opposite talking your book. It feels a little scummy, like borderline criminally. You know, he got sued when he was shit talking Bitcoin, and then their trading desk on the same day he was on CNBC trash talking Bitcoin. Anybody in my firm that messes with Bitcoin is going to be fired. They JP Morgan Chase traders bought 10,000 Bitcoin. You think that's a little weird? Well, he got fucking sued and they lost, and they settled for an undisclosed sum. These dudes, they can say whatever the fuck they want. No one ever gets in trouble. It's the craziest thing. You go take a pack of Twinkies, you're going to get your ass tackled, beat up. I'll go to jail. But if you tell $1 billion or a $2 billion fucking lie on national television, means nothing. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that an awesome system we live in where it's really fair? Where everyone's voice has equal stature under the law? Anyway, so Standard Chartered, which is a too big to fail bank, meaning like there's you know, the government would step in if they were having trouble. Systemically important, one might say. So they're allowing the bank to offer Bitcoin and Ethereum trading through traditional currency platforms starting today, Tuesday, crossing a line that its peers have kind of approached with a fair amount of caution and skepticism, but no one has pulled the trigger. So they're the first. The bank will run Bitcoin and Ethereum spot trading services for institutional clients from its UK branch, enabling them to execute trades through the same foreign exchange systems that they are already using. Now, this isn't for Joe Sixpack. This Forex type trading accounts are usually, I'm not gonna say they're whales, but they're people that definitely have some investment experience, or at least a lot of money, and no one has stepped up to them and told them that they have no experience. Anyway, well, let's say good decision making comes from experience, and experience comes from bad decision making. Well, there you go. Digital assets are a foundational element of the evolution in financial services. Bill Winters, this is the chief executive of that group at that bank, said in a statement, the move, he said, opens new pathways for innovation, greater inclusion, and greater growth. I like growth. I'm a fan of growth. Anyway, it's another aggregate group of buyers and sellers. It's more liquidity into the market. So that's good. Unlike crypto exchanges that require separate account systems, Standard Chartered's approach integrates digital assets in the platform's treasury departments, which fund managers use daily for trading dollars, euros, and yen. I hope all these funds are not intermingled. I'm sure they've looked at this, but every time I assume that, a bank will crash, and you go, I guess they don't do math at that bank. I guess math is not big at that bank. So anyway, through its clients and these kind of client accounts, they can settle their crypto trades with any custodian they choose. The bank also offers its own regulated custody service launched in the UAE last year and Europe this year in January. And it expanded those offerings through a partnership with Falcon X in May. You Falcon X. So I guess like my ex-girlfriend would be my Falcon X, my Falcon ex-girlfriend. Anyway, too big to fail. Standard Charter's entry into spot crypto trading is unequivocally validating the growing demand from traditional finance for regulated, deliverable crypto trading solutions. People want to trade. Let them trade. So there we go. There seems to be a convergence of traditional finance and digital assets, which shows how the sector's ecosystem has matured and established. And you have players like Standard Chartered and, of course, Charles Schwab, Chase, and some of these other banks, Fidelity for their investor service. Basically, you're going to be able to, I think you'll be able to custody Bitcoin and probably Ethereum at your bank, but for sure Bitcoin this time next year. Would you want to? Hell no. Don't give those motherfuckers your Bitcoin. That is absolute madness. But you'd be able to. Now, you might say, well, but I want to do it. I want to get a loan. Go spin up your own loan. Don't let these assholes take your crypto and your money. They've been sticking it to you for decades. F those guys. Anyway, while the launch, this launch of this kind of access to Bitcoin and Ethereum, at least for Standard Charter, is a first for a bank of its size. This is part of this broader shift of bigger institutions exploring crypto assets, at least at the level of Bitcoin, and then their eventual integration and diversification into those banks and their banking clients. So cool. Eventually, we will see something like full integration and kind of a mainstream financial infrastructure. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. So Bitcoin and Ethereum access. That's cool. What will they think of next? So yeah, Standard Charter is just one of 29 institutions designated by the Financial Stability Board as ostensibly too big to fail or systemically important. They say this because their collapse would threaten global financial stability. That's yeah. So we hope they get it right. If you're globally important, if you're systemically important, don't shit the bed when it comes to math. So important, that math. Okay. So there we go. Standard Chartered, am I right? All right. What else is going on? Let's switch up the music a little bit. Pretty good. Let me just go here. Oh, kind of a Spanishy. Yeah, this is cool. Okay, so we're going to go the Spanishy route. Why? Well, we're going to talk about companies and places you can go with cryptos. Mostly places. All right, let me make sure I haven't missed any questions. How do those first tranchers know we are participating? Yeah, no clue. I'm sure you're asking somebody else. Yeah. Hey, you guys know we don't run HMS. You guys know that, right? I'm just saying this out loud. You guys realize we are not HMS. We don't know. We don't know what they do. Go to their website. go to their paraphernalia. Go to their info. There. Let me see. Let me see if I moved anything. Am I missing anything? Nope. Yeah. Jamie's supposed to be retiring. He's been selling all of his stock. He just hasn't quite retired yet. All right, let's see. Let me sure I haven't missed anything. Tufi was on Rumble this morning. I didn't hear that. I wonder what he was rumbling about. Let's see. He said his kid's making $9,000 a day from their node. How much are we making? His kids are not making $9,000 a day from anything. I know his kids. They're very nice. But they're not making No, listen. Nobody you know is making, William, buddy, no one you know is making $9,000 a day. I wish I was. Well, Not counting options. Okay, if you count options, yes. But other than options, no. But certainly not two-piece kids running a node or nodes. Tell Jamie, I know, God, if the Jays could just leave, just get the fuck out of here and leave. Wouldn't that be great? All right, let's talk about 4 countries that let you buy citizenship or a golden visa with crypto, meaning you're done, you're burnt out, that's it. I'm hitting the sticks. I'm no more of this stuff. Well, these are places you can go. Citizenship and residency via crypto are now possible in countries like Vanuatu, is that right? El Salvador, Portugal, which by the way, Portugal is not like El Salvador where they'll cut your arms off and shit. And Vanuatu, which I really don't know where that is. But Portugal is dope. Remember, Western Europe is Spain, France. Oh, not from your perspective. Hold on. I got to do it backwards because the camera. Spain, Portugal, France. Okay? And then England over here. That blob, it's like, I mean, it's a little north, but it's like basically northwesty. It's northwesty of Spain. Because remember, the bottom of Spain goes all the way down, basically touches Gibraltar. It's the southern tip of Europe is the Spain's. So then France, Portugal. So you're talking about a pretty decent weather environment. People love the Portugal. People love them some Portugal. Anyway, Vanuatu is one of the fastest countries to offer citizenship with crypto accepted through licensed agents. Okay. Dominica and St. Lucia offer Caribbean citizenship in months using crypto converted using trusted agencies. Portugal offers EU residency and a path to citizenship through crypto-linked investment funds. Hell, man, I might get me one of those just to have an EU passport. That's some cool shit. El Salvador offers direct citizenship through a $1 million Bitcoin or USDT investment. No fiat needed. None. Think about that. How badass is that? So it's probably not super surprising, but both citizenship by investment crypto programs, this whole CBI, citizen by investment programs, and golden visas, and those are basically these visas that last for a really long time, and you can go back and forth and all that kind of stuff. St. Lucia, St. Lucia and Dominica. Anyway, these are appearing to meet the needs of investors that hold Bitcoin and Ethereum, and also stablecoins. So what was once an only fiat world, only old green, dirty, blood-ridden coke smoke currency, now includes pathways tailored for those living crypto riche. A handful of jurisdictions will go even further, offering opportunities ranging from fast-track second passports to long-term residency for investors. I like the idea of a second passport. There's a lot of times where I would not necessarily want to be traveling as an American. Anyway, this article explores some of the more crypto-friendly countries for citizenship or residency, and this is as of this month. So this is all accurate as of at least a week or two ago. So in Vanuatu, you can buy citizenship with crypto. The Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment (CBI) via the Development Support Program via the DSP. Vanuatu offers one of the fastest second passport routes in the world, with citizenships granted within 30 to 60 days. The required donation starts at $130,000 for single applicants, and for a family of 4, now this is where it's not that bad. A family of 4, $180,000. That's not bad. If you're crypto riche, get you a passport, bro. Get you a second passport. Buddy, ain't no one's earning $9,000 a day. You guys got to stop that. I don't think anyone's earning $9 a day. I'm honest. I don't think anyone's earning $9 a day. Not yet. Maybe in the future, 9 cents a day. That's what you should be shooting for. Anyway, crypto integration. While the government itself does not accept crypto, licensed agents are permitted to receive Bitcoin or stablecoins, convert them to fiat, handle the full application process. Some agents advise, this is for Vanuatu, they advise you to follow their little path to pay via Bitcoin for the total investment cost, typically between 115 and 130,000, streamlining access for crypto passport seekers. Yeah. So then, okay, so those are two different numbers. They said 115, 130,000 there. They said 130 to 180,000. I think maybe this was translated. But anyway, it's 100% remote process. There's no in-person interviews. There's no residency required. There's no language, education, or stay requirements. Dual citizenship is allowed. Tax-free on personal income, capital gains, wealth, and inheritance. Visa-free travel to 90-plus countries through Shenzhen. The Shenzhen access is currently under review. Oh, okay. Family inclusion, spouses, dependent children under 25, and parents over 50. That's cool. Look at all them family members. Yay. If you're from the U.S., why would you want to get citizenship from other countries? Denny, have you traveled much? I say this not as a criticism, but there are times when traveling with a U.S. passport or being known as an American don't always make the most sense. In my former life, it was frowned upon in most of the places we were to be an American. So you want to have that American passport sewn into your luggage somewhere, but you want to have that South American or Central American passport so that people don't cut your fucking head off. Or like if you're in countries where you get killed for free, stuff like that. Yeah. But yes, America is the greatest country in the world, but you should still travel. And not all the time just traveling makes sense with an American passport. Just saying, protect yourself. Anyway, did you know that Vanuatu is one of the few countries in the world without a military? Citizens enjoy global neutrality and low geopolitical risk. I don't even know where it is on a map. I can't find it. I haven't looked, but I can't find it. If anybody does find it on a map, let me know. Okay, Dominica and St. Lucia. So Pam, you were interested in this. Countries accepting crypto for residency. The Caribbean CBI schemes. In Dominica, you have to do a $200,000 donation to their economic diversification fund, which means pad the pockets of whatever the incumbents are. In St. Lucia, it's $240,000 donation or $300,000 in approved real estate. Now, why that's interesting is, would you do a donation or would you just go buy real estate? I would go buy real estate. Yeah, I would go buy real estate. So both countries offer fast track second passports processed in 4 to 9 months. That's not super fast. 4 would be good, with remote application processes, no physical presence required. And you can go through, there's like Apex Capital Partners, Global Residence Index, and Citizenship Bay. They accept Bitcoin, other major crypto assets like Tether and Ethereum, stuff like that. They convert them into fiat on behalf of the applicants, and then send them to the countries wherever they're supposed to go. Anyway, strong passports, visa-free, visa on arrival to the UK, to the European Union, Singapore, Hong Kong, and more. Entire families can be included. That's spouse, children, and in many cases, parents. There's no physical presence, language test, or residency obligation. Now, the cons on this one are that in-depth due diligence checks by governments and third-party firms. So they're going to make sure you're not a crook. And then some countries scrutinize Caribbean CBI passports more closely due to the reputational concern, because people go to the Caribbean to hide money. Well, just like pirates did. They went there to bury treasure. So anyway, it was kind of off the route, right? Anyway, for those seeking residency by investment, the Caribbean options are pretty attractive. Dominica runs the longest continually active citizenship by investment program in the world, launched in 1993. Wow. So they've been doing it for a while. Yeah. What do you mean you guessed that 9K was BS? It was obviously BS. It was, and it may have been an example. And he also may have been, like, I don't know, I have to listen, but he may have been speaking, in kind of gross metaphorical terms, whatever. I'm guessing it was painted with a pretty, a wide brush, a wide, very generalized brush. You're a one Bitcoiner, you're a one BTC coiner at 80, but I'm holding for 7 years, and I will add that. You're a one coiner, Raphael. That's a good thing, buddy. Being a one coiner is a good thing. Being a coiner is a good thing. If it's Bitcoin, you know what? It's good even if it's Ethereum. You're still a coiner. Be a coiner. Yeah. Okay, that's a different question, Denny. You're illustrating yet another point that Americans might be bad travelers. Yes, also true. Okay. Okay, Vanuatu is an island chain between Australia and Fiji. God, I'm never going there. That sounds like a 26-hour flight, is all that sounds like to me. Okay, Portugal. Portugal is the one that we care about. The Golden Visa with crypto. Portugal's Golden Visa. Again, it's a residency by investment, RBI program. Portugal remains top destination for those seeking residency by investment using crypto-funded wealth. Since 2023, the focus of the Golden Visa programs is only a few years old. Has shifted from real estate to regulated investment funds, scientific research, and company formation. The typical qualifying investment is 500,000 euro. It's not bad, $500,000, usually placed in a Portuguese CMVM regulated fund. And I wonder, I guess you get paid. I guess you still make a return on that, I think. Residency can lead to citizenship after 5 years, though a proposed extension to 10 years is under legislative review as of this month. Applicants must spend only 7 days in the first year and 14 days every 2 years. So for people that you would just go take your 7-day vacation in Portugal. And that's not a long flight either. That's like a tenner, right? Like a 10-hour flight from the, is it 10 from here and 7 from there, from the West Coast? I think it's only 7. Oh, sorry, from the East Coast. I think it's only 7 from the East Coast. So it's pretty quick. It's a little bit quicker than Spain, I believe. Anyway, spending a week there is not bad. And then 14 days every 2 years, that's not bad. It's a little pricey. I have to find out more about what happens with your cash. I like the idea that you could buy real estate, because then you could buy a house, you could rent it out when you're gone, and then you could just come stay for a week, a year, and you get a passport. You get a passport. And that's a Portugal passport. That's a legit EU. That's some good shit. 13 hours from LA. Okay, so it's 10 from the East Coast. Gotcha. All right. While Portugal does not accept direct crypto for its Golden Visa, there's a bunch of qualified funds that offer exposure to Bitcoin-related assets. So they have a Bitcoin venture fund focused on Portuguese blockchain startups. That sounds like sketchy shit. I would not be buying that. There's the Golden Crypto Fund mixing fixed income with up to 35% in Bitcoin and exchange-traded funds. It's a little juicier. The custom 3BTC investment offers pegged to meet the 500,000 euro threshold. Huh. That's interesting. I wonder what that's about. Anyway, all structures are Visa approved, though they only operate through fiat conversions via licensed intermediaries. That's the case, but what do you care? They're the ones doing all the swapping. Ideal for those asking how to get a Golden Visa with Bitcoin or gain access to crypto-friendly governments. No language test, which is good. I can't speak Portuguese for shit. No language test or full-time residency requirement. Again, it's the 7 days in the first year and then 14 days every 2 years after that. full EU residency rights and citizenship path, pending these legislative updates. Favorable crypto tax environment. Well, that I'm not sure. Long-term crypto gains are tax exempt for individuals. I like that. So as long as you hold over a year. Family inclusion, spouse, dependent children, and sometimes parents, depends on the situation. Anyway, Portugal is one of the top crypto passport countries in the EU with strong governance and deep talent base. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So, and then there's El Salvador. We're not going to talk about El Salvador because it costs $1 million and it feels really sketch. You could do Kazakhstan, golden visa, $40? No, $300,000 to get a Kazakhstan golden visa. Who the fuck is going to Kazakhstan? No one's ever said that. I want to go to Kazakhstan. No one's ever uttered that. Even if you're from there, you've never said that. God. Okay, St. Kitts and Nevis accepts crypto as proof of wealth for citizenship applications. Now, that's cool. It's not, they have a citizenship by investment program. They don't have a residency by investment, but I guess that's part of it. But essentially, starting in March of this year, the Citizenship by Investment Unit, the CIU, I'm in the CIU. CIA? Nope, CIU. Gotcha. Updated their applications to allow digital assets like Bitcoin or Ethereum to serve as part of the applicant's wealth declaration. So this is kind of cool. The applications involving crypto may be subject to additional due diligence fees and extended background checks to ensure compliance with AML regulations. Applicants must submit full documentation, including proof of ownership of the crypto assets, transaction history to establish origin of funds, and valuation reports at the time of submission. Crypto investors can also include family members, spouse, children, dependent parents, and under a single citizenship application, provided standard vetting criteria are met. Pretty cool. So you do have some options. I think the best option, I don't know, man. They all sound kind of okay. Vanuatu, people would think you're full of shit. They think you're a drug runner or a money launderer if you're in Dominica or St. Lucia, but that's kind of cool. Like if people think you're like a professional money launderer, they're more likely to be your friend. That's a friendly, cool kind of thing. Like, oh, this guy's probably a money launderer. Yeah. Well, I like this guy. Let's go have some drinks and some local food. Let's go have some of the local foods and drinks with this guy, this money launderer guy. That's what I would do. Anyway, all right. Is it my understanding that as long as you remain a U.S. citizen, the government will tax your crypto no matter what? Am I wrong? Well, yeah. I believe it's where you maintain your residency and for how long. Now, in the case of Puerto Rico, you're a U.S. citizen, but a Puerto Rican resident. And if you really are there in Puerto Rico, which, Puerto Rico is beautiful, but it's a hell on earth. I mean, spiders like as big as like catcher's mitts and stuff. But there, if you go through their little article programs, I forget what they are. Those actually do work, but you got to really be there. You got to be there 6 months and change per year. You have to actually be there. I don't know about that. Otherwise, you'd have to denounce your citizenship. And by the way, at the time you denounce your citizenship, you got to pay all your tax burden, do all that kind of stuff, and what you owe, and you got to kind of do a buyout. And I don't know if giving up your citizenship is worth that. Just set up a cool trust structure, like have a trust that owns a holding company. The holding company owns your businesses. And you borrow, everybody borrows from everybody, and no one's paying tax. I think there's the corporate minimum taxes for the subsidiaries, but you yourself will not pay tax. Again, I'm not a tax expert. That's just what some dude's doing for a lot of people that I know. And apparently it works for them. So what? Anyway, trust, am I right? Okay. Let's call it a day. I was going to talk about CPI. We can get into it tomorrow. It wasn't really all that interesting. The inflation that everybody says is here ain't here. The consumer price index CPI rose 2.7 on an annual basis, up from 2.4 in May, according to the BLS. But when you start digging into it, the tariffs, they're just not showing up. Eggs are expensive. Matter of fact, I've got some screens for you. Here, eggs. We're getting fucked on eggs, everyone. We're getting egg fucked. Okay, other than that, come on, eggs, man. What about, don't people have chickens? What's going on with this? Come on, chickens. Do your stuff with your, all that. Food away from home at employee sites plus schools, it's up 6.7%. Okay, so food, energy, utility, piped gas, declined, but food away from home went up. Okay, it is what it is. And again, when you're looking at here, food at home, 2.4%. Okay, great. All items less food and energy, 2.9. So say, okay, subscription, rental of video games. Does that have anything to do with tariffs? No. Audio equipment, I guess maybe. College textbooks, no. Motor vehicle repair, not really, unless they're ordering a bunch of parts. Laundry equipment, maybe. Cigarettes, no. We got all those here. Delivery services, no. Motor vehicle insurance, no. Veterinary, no. Garbage trash collection, no. Tuition, window, living room, nursing, none of this shit, none of it, except maybe audio equipment, and in some cases motor vehicle repair if there's parts that have to be sourced outside the U.S. None of this has anything to do with tariffs. There is no fucking evidence. None. Not an iota. I don't even know what an iota is, but I feel like it's a very little amount. There is no inflation from tariffs. Not yet. It just ain't. And when it is, it's going to be a one-time offset because math. So I guess get ready for whatever is the next bull crappery that we'll get from Gentleman Jerome as he dodges, maybe being held to have perjured himself. Wouldn't that be the best? Oh my God. I don't wish ill on anyone. And I don't want Gentleman Jerome to go to jail and be someone's, schoolyard, prison yard bitch. That's not what I want from him. Would I like to see him maybe arrested and just have the intake, the pictures and all that? Sure. Do I want him to spend a night in jail? No, they would break his hips. They would break his old hips wearing him in. But it would be interesting. But again, I don't think he thinks he's in trouble. The way they see it at the Fed, these renovations are ours. We can do whatever we want. And you could say, okay, but that level of mismanagement, that level of insanity, as well as the level of mismanagement of monetary policy, might together equal a potential cause argument to fire him and replace him. What I think Trump should do is just ignore Powell and start already nominate someone to replace him and just put all the spotlight on this new guy. Have him go around giving speeches and talks and this and that. Have him meeting the other Fed governors. Basically just pretend that Jerome is gone. Lame duck his ass. It'd be great. It'd be so good. LA to Portugal. Okay, wait. LA to Portugal is 11, so 12 hours. Okay, New York to Portugal is 7 hours. That's what I thought. I thought it was 7 from the East Coast. I think I flew out of Atlanta. I think when I did that, I went here to Atlanta to Europe. I think that was how it worked. Yeah. All right. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything my porn solve a drunk son of a meth grandmother or Brandon wouldn't do, which is very little. We will see you mañana, and we'll get back into it. And we'll do all of these shenanigans over again, because that's what we do. We do shenanigans. Bam. So, yeah, we'll see ya.